Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. Not nominated for Best Picture. Monroe-Puri. The Animal Kingdom. You are what you eat. Monopoly. And ballet. Bogey and Hepburn floated across the screen in this 1951 film that pleased audiences and critics, but not the Academy. We're talking about The African Queen. Player one, you couldn't drag a Best Picture nomination out of the Academy for this 1959 Billy Wilder film. Well, nobody's perfect. Here's the correct response. Some like it hot. Select. The Academy must have been out to lunch not nominating this 1961 Audrey Hepburn-George Peppard film. Here's what we wanted. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Player one. In 1954, this Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly starer from Alfred Hitchcock didn't get a second glance. Here's the correct response. Rear Window. Selecting. Driving Miss Daisy won for 1989, the year this Spike Lee film about urban racism was passed over. The correct response is Do the Right Thing. Select again. In 1948, she had one line in Love Happy, the last Marx Brothers movie. Here's what we were looking for. Marilyn Monroe. Player one. Forget DiMaggio and Berra. The secret to the Yankees' 11 pennants from 1947 to 1960 was Lucy Monroe's singing of this. Let's hear it, player one. That's correct. We see Marion Monroe train as a child psychologist and co-write the book starring this unexciting boy-girl pair. Here's the correct response. Dick and Jane. Player one. 1940s singing star Vaughn Monroe had a rich voice in this middle male range, hence the nickname Old Leather Tonsils. Here's the correct response. Baritone. Player one. In 1912, Harriet Monroe launched the magazine simply called This. It soon published T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound. Here's the correct response. Poetry. The Norway type of this infuriating rodent actually originated in Asia. Player one. Right. The eyes of these croaking critters usually bulge, but they retract and push down on the mouth to help in swallowing. Player one. You got it. Player one. The hermit type of this animal can twist its abdomen to one side so it tucks neatly into its home. It's player one.
Yeah!
That is correct. You get. Here's Sarah.
Sea lions have external ears, while true seals do not. However, they all belong to this suborder, Latin for fin-footed.
Let's hear it, player one. No. We're talking about Pinnipedia. Please. The Hirola is also known as the four-eyed species of this African ungulate. It's player one. You got it. You again. Ah, yes, my sweet, if you eat this sticky liquid, comb and all, I'll definitely call you my this. It's player one. Right. We return. Eat too many of this original gourmet jelly bean, and its name may describe your tummy. Let's hear it, player one. That's correct. Player one. If I eat a frankfurter before I show off my skiing stunts, you have every reason to call me one of these. Player one. Yeah, good. You get. Louis Browning ate more than 22,000 of these cream-filled Hostess cakes. If you did the same, we'd call you one. Let's hear it, player one. That's correct. If you spend your last dime on one of these New Orleans-style hero sandwiches, you really will turn into one. Player one? Good for you. Player one? This corporation's monopoly on TV broadcasting in England was broken in the 1950s by ITV. Here's the correct response. The BBC. His company's monopoly of steamship navigation on the Hudson River was broken by an 1824 decision of the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, player one. Good. Player one. In 1930, this man led a march to the sea to collect salt in protest of a monopoly by the government of India. Here's what we were looking for. Mohandas Gandhi. You get... Answer? The Daily Double. And you're in the lead now. Decide on your wager, player one. Answer? The East had a monopoly on this material until the 6th century, when 2 monks smuggled out some worms. Yes. You get to... This Antitrust Act from 1890 was designed to prevent monopolies in American business. Here's the correct response. The Sherman Antitrust Act. Player one. Cadets attend a dance at a girls' school in Graduation Ball, a ballet set in this capital of Austria. We're talking about Vienna. Player one. I may say nay if you do a pas de cheval, a ballet step that imitates this animal. Yes, player one? You got it. Player one. He designed sets and costumes for Where the Wild Things Are, a ballet based on his own beloved book. The correct response is Maurice Sendak. The 2000 ballet Todo Buenos Aires features different interpretations of this sensual ballroom dance. Here's the correct response. The tango. And the last clue for $1,000. Here's Jimmy. He'll show you.
It's the double tuck name for this standard ballet skirt.
Okay, player one. Yep. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. Clues are worth $400 to $2,000 in these categories. Literary characters. The Quasi-War with France. Through Europe on E90. Related words. This Side of Parasites. And sitcom supporting characters. Had a whale of a time in 1851. Pequod problems. Call him this narrator. Here's what we wanted. Ishmael. You get to famous foundling. Psychs himself out. Title taught. Here's what we wanted. Oliver Twist. We LAPI, okay? Chandler's champ slept big, and his goodbye was long. The correct response is Philip Marlowe. Player 1, time-traveling Dresden dude. He wasn't a Puritan, a Vonnegut Czech. Here's what we wanted. Billy Pilgrim. Player 1 has a gem of a brother. Atticus, Atticus. Sweet Home, Alabama. Yes, player 1? Good for you. Please pick. On June 21st, 1798, this president told Congress he was going to break off relations with France. It's player 1. No, that's not right. We're talking about John Adams. Select. Preparations for war included adding ships like the USS Constitution, nicknamed this in the War of 1812. Okay, player 1. Good. Player 1. USS Constellation beat both La Vengeance and L'Insurgente in this sea, where the U.S. enjoyed a home field edge. Here's what we were looking for: the Caribbean. So the rally cry of the Americans during the fight was millions for this, but not 1 cent for tribute. Here's the correct response: defense. So in October of 1797, the United States met with agents of France known by these 3 code letters. We're talking about X, Y, and Z. Player 1, we'll start our trip east on Route E90 in this chief seaport of Portugal. The correct response is Lisbon. Please, let's head to this Spanish coastal city to shop along its Rambla de Catalunya. Here's the response we were looking for: Barcelona. Select. My cat wants me to look up its relatives in this capital of Turkey. It's player 1. Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Here's what we were looking for: Ankara. You get. We'll stop in Thessaloniki, the capital of this Greek region that produced Philip and Alexander. Here's the correct response: Macedonia. Select. E90 goes through Brindisi. This famous ancient Roman road, also known as a way, ended there. Here's the correct response: the Via Appia. We return. A park was originally an enclosed place. This related word still means an enclosure for racehorses. Yes, player 1? No, sorry. We're talking about a paddock. You get. Culprit, meaning the guilty party, evolved from this adjective meaning guilty. It's player 1. No, that's not right. Here's the correct response: culpable. Select. Fabricate is related to this verb that can mean to write something fraudulent, like a signature. Player 1? Yep. You again. As score can mean to cut, it makes sense that it's from the same root as this word for big scissors. Let's hear it, player 1. Correct. You again. Answer. The first of the daily doubles. You are in the lead right now. Player 1, give us a weight. Answer this. To do this to something is to make it holy, a word from the same root. Nope. Sorry. Here's the correct response: to hallow. Player 1, when a tiny parasite enters an oyster's shell, mantle cells cover it with nacre, until this is formed. Yes, player one? That's correct. Player one. This plant grows as a parasite on apple tree trunks, blooms in February and March, yet still is a factor in Christmas kisses. Player one? That's correct. Player one? Answer? The second daily double. You are currently in the lead. What are you going to wager? Okay, here is the clue. PSI is a charity delivering nets to fight this parasite-caused disease that kills 3,000 African children a day. Yes. You can vent this soft ductless organ that fights infection with parasite detection. We're talking about the spleen. Please, closely related to meningitis, this inflammation of the brain can result from viral infections or tiny parasites. Okay, player one. Hey, you're right. You again. Rock me, Ann B. Davis. Ms. D played housekeeper Alice Nelson on this sitcom from 1969 to 1974. Here's what we were looking for. The Brady Bunch. Player one. On this sitcom, Oscar Nunez is Oscar, Creed Bratton is Creed, Angela Kinsey is Angela, and Rainn Wilson is Dwight. Here's the correct response. The Office. Player one. This sitcom's Niles. I have a session with my multiple personality. The correct response is Frasier. Please. One of the many supporting folks on this animated show, student Ralph Wiggum, said, "Me fail English? That's impossible." Here's what we were looking for. The Simpsons. And the $2,000 clue? Randy, Crabman, and Willie, the one-eyed mailman, supported this NBC show. The correct response is, my name is Earl. I'll see you for Final Jeopardy in just a moment. Here's the Final Jeopardy category. American authors. So, what's your wager? And now the final clue. Injured on the Austro-Italian front on July 8, 1918, he also crossed the English Channel with U.S. forces on D-Day. Did you come up with the correct response? And this correct response will add how much to your score? Congratulations, player one. You're the winner. Thanks for playing, everybody. See you next time.